Before I do open public comments, this has been, obviously it's a highly televised item. It's a big item of concern, and there's a short statement I want to read first so that we can lay some ground rules for some civility. I'm not saying that it will get out of hand, but I just want to make sure that we all understand that everybody is entitled to an opinion. The City Council celebrates each individual's right to freedom of speech and expression as protected under the U.S. and the California Constitution. America has a historic tradition of individuals expressing criticism of public officials and the policies they adopt. However, equally important is the ability to effectively conduct the city business with both openness, transparency, and a manner welcoming to all community members. In order for openness to flourish, speakers should embrace decorum and civility, tolerance, and moderation. The Council encourages speakers to remember that we are all part of the same community, and we remember that we are all part of the same community and that we share a common goal. Constructive criticism and positive solutions are more powerful than personal attacks on community members, which often lead to a defensive counter-criticism. This conduct obscures the real issue and stifles positive and creative ideas. Please feel free to comment on city business and issues of community interest, but please exercise decorum, civility, and respect for all. So thank you very much. Are there any public comments that are not on the council agenda? I do not have a request, but is there anybody out there that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, we're going to move to the legislative items. Item 4A is Sanctuary City Declaration.
Mayor, members of the council, you have had rather extensive discussion over this over recent months, really dating back to December, when we had a work session item, not specifically called Sanctuary City, but on what is the appropriate role of local government in immigration enforcement. As a result of that, we developed a statement of inclusivity that was mailed out in the community newsletter and has been posted on our website since that time. During the months of January through April, I would say we pretty consistently heard from folks at the City Hall at Your Corner meetings desiring a further discussion on this topic. As a result, it was agendized on study session back on 2 weeks ago on May 10th. As a result of that, Council asked staff to work up a resolution in support of the Sanctuary City Declaration. We had a number of meetings with community groups, with police personnel, with other stakeholders to make sure, and with our legal staff, to make sure that it was drafted to be as reflective of the wishes of the community as possible. And so what you have before you tonight reflects that. Eric Vale, our attorney, would like to give you just a little update on a Attorney General opinion. I don't know if that's the right word for it or not. That came out yesterday, and some language that we had already included in the resolution that we believe is relevant to that.
Mayor and council members, at your last meeting, we briefed you on not only the Executive Order 13768, but also the lawsuit that had been brought by the County of Santa Clara and the City and County of San Francisco, and the Federal District Court's decision to invalidate much of part of one of the sections of that order. In the wake of that, the Attorney General of the United States issued a memo to the President with regard to how they were going to try to implement the executive order. That executive order did a number of things that are relevant to us tonight. You might remember that the executive order uses the term sanctuary jurisdiction and didn't define it. Well, one of the things that the Attorney General's memo does is attempt to define what the administration means by a sanctuary jurisdiction. And in their view, a sanctuary jurisdiction is one that willfully violates a particular federal law. It's Title 8 of United States Code, Section 1373. Section 1373, I'm going to paraphrase and just give you the important part essentially says that nobody or no entity may prohibit in any way or in any way restrict any government entity or official from sending to or receiving from the Department of Homeland Security or any immigration officials of the United States any information related to immigration status. That is their definition of what a sanctuary jurisdiction is. Many of the ordinances and resolutions that we looked at and borrowed from other jurisdictions had a clause that is very similar to what you can find in our proposed ordinance tonight, if I can bring it back up. It's in section 5, and it essentially says that notwithstanding anything else we've said in this, there's nothing in here that prohibits any official from the city from providing immigration information. So we are in compliance with, won't be in violation of, the executive order as interpreted either by the courts or by the Attorney General of the United States. What doesn't that mean? Does that mean that we're going to collect a bunch of immigration information or we're going to enforce immigration laws? No, it doesn't mean any of that. The policy that the city previously had in place with the police department remains in place. The only thing that Section 5 does is the same thing that almost all of the other sanctuary jurisdictions or sanctuary cities or refuge cities have incorporated, which says we're not prohibiting the exchange of information, we're not requiring the gathering of it, and we're not going to use resources to enforce federal immigration, and there's nothing that prohibits us from enforcing criminal laws. So even before the Attorney General's opinion came out, we were already prepared for it. The resolution as proposed tonight will allow you to declare yourself to be a sanctuary city, not a sanctuary jurisdiction, but a sanctuary city, and give it the meaning that is appropriate for your own community. And I think we've laid that out in the recitals, and that the council, of course, is not bound by any of the language that staff is proposing to you tonight. You can ask for amendments or changes or deletions, but as phrased, I'm very comfortable that we're not in violation of the executive order or the Attorney General opinion. But at the same time, I think we're remaining true to what the spirit and intent of the council was in giving us this direction, was to not use any city resources to enforce immigration laws, not to collect immigration information, and not to single out people on the basis of their immigration status or any other protected class as you have in your inclusivity policy already. With that, I can answer additional questions as they might come up tonight.
Just a point of clarification, I believe it's section 6. Which,
I'm sorry, did I say section 5?
You said section 5, so I just want to make sure that it is section 6 that you were talking about, so that it is, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah, because you get the new one. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
It's been revised.
Do you want to hear public comments first? Okay. So with that, thank you for that clarification. We will open up the public comments, and we have quite a few, so we're going to be here for a little bit of time. Please, I will hold you to 3 minutes because we have so far probably about 60, if not more. I want to also let you know that we have also received numerous telephone calls, emails, and other information. All of this has been inputted and will be made part of the public record, so that that has already been done. So we do have those. Again, let's limit it to that 3 minutes, and we will. And I'm going to apologize up front that I may butcher your name. Everybody's patience. I appreciate everybody's willingness to be respectful for everybody and everybody's opinions. It is truly how our democratic process is supposed to work. And, I applaud you all for that. So now you can clap. Thank you. Okay, that's enough. Okay, that's enough. I want to also thank city staff for putting together a document that is inclusive, a document that I think they have tried the best that they can to protect us. I'm not sure that they have 100%, personal opinion, but I think they have tried. Before we have any other comments, I would like to request a substitute resolution. And the only change in that is there's some added verbiage in section 3. And I'm not sure, I think it got posted. Did it get posted? Then no. Let me read the section 3. Is except as otherwise provided or required in this resolution, no city official, employee, or agent of the city, while in the course and scope of employment, shall use any city funds or resolutions to enforce federal immigration law. City officials, employees, and agents may continue to comply with lawfully issued judicial warrants or other subpoenas or cooperate with federal authorities to protect public safety. This cooperation includes, but is not limited to, participation in joint criminal investigations that are permitted under city policy and applicable under federal or state law. It just expounds a little bit from what the original Section 3 said. So I just ask that if whoever makes the motion that they would include that verbiage in that section. Are there any comments?
I know the motion's going to come down there.
And I think we all have some comments before doing the motion, if that would be appropriate.
Of course. If it's all right with you, John, I'll go ahead and then I'll let you and Shelley do it. It's just a couple of things that I want to say. And again, I want to thank the people that were here, especially those that don't agree with me on a lot of philosophical measures. Because you're here and you're willing to stand up and you're willing to say publicly what your opinion is, and that's extremely important. We have gotten a lot of emails, a lot of Facebook posts, Nextdoor posts, from people that did not have the courage to come here tonight and say what they believe. I very much respect Mayor Smith for being here and giving his opinion. Another former mayor who liked to say have the courage of your convictions didn't bother to get out of her house tonight to come down here and say what she thought. I don't like bullies, and whether they're on the schoolyard, used to sit in the center chair here, or the President of the United States, I don't like bullies. And a lot of the text messages, at least that I got, or emails that I got from people that were opposed, were very clear that they wanted to, that they were threatening their vote in the next election or their donation in the next campaign. Well, that's the way America works, and people are certainly welcome to choose not to vote for me because of a vote or two, in my case probably 100, that they have disagreed with. I've also heard tonight that we're doing this because it's going to help us get votes, and yet in the very next breath, they talk about illegal immigrants. I don't know of any illegal immigrants in Cathedral City that can vote, unlike what some other people have said tonight. We have very clean elections in the state of California. We have an opportunity to do something right for our residents, for all of our residents. I think our staff, the volunteers from the Courageous Resistance, our police department have worked ICUC have worked very diligently to draft a resolution that, while maybe not perfect, satisfies a lot of concerns. I certainly respect the Police Officers Association and the concerns that they have. But I also think that we have a responsibility to set the policy for the city and to make those statements. There was one other thing that two other things I wanted to say, and then a couple of quotes, and then I'll leave it go. There was a comment made about 9/11 and how things have changed since then. And I keep hearing that about this whole discussion, in the media and all, and I never could understand why they've also failed to mention that the terrorists that attacked in 9/11 all came over the Canadian border, not the Mexican border. And if we want to set up additional immigration, that's where we need to set up and deal with the problem coming across the northern border and not just dealing with what's on the southern border. But this sanctuary resolution will protect Canadians that want to come in here, just as well as it will Mexicans, Colombians, Nicaraguans, or any other group. I would like to say to Courageous Resistance, to Stonewall, to the ACLU, until such time as our neighbors to the west find the courage of their convictions and actually vote for some of these things, your meetings, your events, your activities need to be in Cathedral City and not in Palm Springs. But I do have 4 quotes that I want to do, 2 from people that I think most everybody here would remember, because even those of you that are in high school would still remember these people. First one was John Kennedy, that said, "Everywhere immigrants have enriched and strengthened the fabric of American life." Mitt Romney, who we would not say those of my political bent would not say is the most liberal person in the world. I quote, "We are a nation of immigrants. We are the children and grandchildren of the ones who wanted a better life. The driven ones, the ones who wake up at night hearing that voice telling them that life in that place called America could be better." And then when we remember back 250, 260, whenever we were first coming across, and my ancestors came from Scotland. They weren't invited either. Thomas Paine said the United States should be an asylum for the persecuted lovers of civil and religious liberty. And our first president, George Washington, he said, "I have always hoped that this land might become a safe and agreeable asylum to the virtuous and persecuted part of mankind, to whatever nation they might belong." That's our heritage, and that's what this country was formed, and that's what Cathedral City is doing as well tonight.
Thank you. You ready next?
I'll go ahead and go next. The Mayor Pro Tem is a hard act to follow, but I will try. So I would start out by just saying that in my 3 years on the council so far, there has been no other issue that has generated this much discussion, both pro and con. And many of the arguments that we hear tonight on both sides of the issue were very compelling, and some were heartbreaking, hard to hear. But since this discussion first took place 2 weeks ago, where I indicated my strong desire to want to move forward with this, I was inundated, if you would, for lack of other words, with a lot of folks who were in opposition to this resolution, should it pass, in ways I would have not otherwise imagined. And people would stop me in the grocery store. We had some folks come and hit me up at the mailbox and articulate what their concerns were and their fears were about moving forward with this. So I wanted to say a couple of things tonight, and like many of you who spoke at the podium, I want to make sure I get this right, so I wrote my comments down. So first, I would never support any action that would jeopardize the safety of our families, our law enforcement personnel, or compromise the economic growth of our community. If you live in Cathedral City, regardless of your immigration status or your documentation status, and you commit a crime, you'll be arrested. In support of this, the resolution that has been put forth tonight contains language that is very specific, that provides for our city to comply with lawfully issued warrants and to cooperate with federal officials in order to protect the public safety. And that includes participation in any criminal investigation that's permitted under city, federal, or state law. The other point is that many folks have suggested that this resolution is going to attract undocumented folks intent on criminal activity. And some of you have already addressed this, but let me just say that I kind of knew instinctively that that was not the case. But I thought, maybe what I should do is to develop and do some independent research on this, because sanctuary cities have been around since the 1980s. This is not something that's brand new. So let me just cite a couple of reports. There was a report done by CNN that states that sanctuary cities not only make cities safer for undocumented immigrants, they make them safer for everyone. That point's already been made. Another report by the National Immigration Policy Center illustrates that immigrants are less likely to commit crimes than native-born citizens. And finally, yet another report says that undocumented immigrant cooperation with police is statistically proven to make sanctuary cities safer. That, to me, counts for a lot. Another objection that's been raised is the potential loss of federal funds. And that concerned me, and that gave me pause. But I believe is explained really well tonight by our city attorney, combined with the recent litigation, the Attorney General's opinion, and other cases. It's pretty clear that we're not at risk. And I feel better knowing that. And for me, a declaration of sanctuary simply means that we are affirming that Cathedral City has been and continues to be a place where we're treated equally with respect and dignity regardless of immigration status. And finally, yes, I'll be voting in favor of this for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is to say that Cathedral City is a place where we're not going to be bullied. We will work together and say no to no more living in fear.
I would like to express my gratitude to everyone here tonight that's taken the time, who's actually wrote me letters, emails, texts, phone calls, and even prayers with the interest of Sanctuary City. I wrote this down, so you got to excuse me. I'm going to read it because I wanted to be perfectly clear on my thoughts and my reasoning here. Let's go back to December 14th, 2016, when this topic was brought to the city, and I believe, Shelley, you brought this to the city back then, and that was a great job. This council voted unanimously to adopt that policy regarding the handling of immigration enforcement. It passed in January. It was called the City Council City's Affirmation Statement, Community Inclusiveness, and was issued. Published in the community newsletters and shared on all the cities and social media outlets. On April 21st, 2017, the Cathedral City Police Department updated the policy 428. The primary revisions are under 428.4, 4.4, 5, and 8. This policy established the approach the police department will take to immigration enforcement. This policy is a well-written document that secures all undocumented residents protection from any threat of deportation. The fact is, Cathedral City does not or will not deport any undocumented resident on the basis of their legal status. I'm going to say that again. Cathedral City does not or will not deport any undocumented resident on the basis of their illegal status. Cathedral City has been an inclusive city. As far as I know, there's been no deportation reported on our police department ever that I know of. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, I've never heard that. If Cathedral City goes sanctuary city, there's a chance we will lose federal grant money, and who really knows what else. I talked to the police chief, and he was thinking somewhere right out of the gate around $50,000 for sure. What's troubling me the most is granting the resolution in Cathedral City is sending up a red flag. We are sending out a welcome mat alerting ICE immigration control to our city. I do not particularly think this is a good thing. If some undocumented residents are worried now, wait and see what happens if the city goes. Additionally, we are sending out a message to gang members from all over Southern California that Cathedral City is a safe haven. Okay.
Please.
You want to let me speak? This is what I'm talking about right here. This will endanger our citizens as well as our neighboring communities. It may also require us to add additional police. Cathedral City will be sending a message to the government that all Cathedral City residents oppose the immigration laws and executive order. This obviously is not the case. So without 100% of our residents agreeing on sanctuary city, we should not cross that line. As it stands right now in our community, we have a strong policy regarding deportation. That is, and has been established by our police chief and this council, and even praised by the ACLU. To pass this feel-good resolution, not knowing what serious ramifications it will bring to our city from federal government powers, I do not feel that this resolution would be to advantage of Cathedral City. Thank you.
Please.
Okay, that brings it to me.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem certainly was eloquent in terms of his comments, and I certainly appreciate Councilman Aguilar's comments as well. I also want to thank all of you who expressed your opinions tonight, and I agree with the Mayor Pro Tem. I especially want to thank those people who feel differently, because that's what a democracy is all about. It's about hearing both sides of a situation and understanding implications. I'm going to try to distill all of the concerns, issues, and rhetoric into a very simple construct. We're talking about fear. To quote H.P. Lovecraft, the oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear. And the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. And I think we've heard a lot of that this evening. We have a significant portion of our city's residents who are living in fear daily relative to their immigration status, or that of someone they love or they care about. It's affecting their ability to lead their lives, and therefore negatively affecting our community. I've mentioned this before, but they're afraid of reporting crimes for fear they're going to be asked about their immigration status. They worry about going to the doctor or to the grocery store or doing any of the myriad things we might do daily, because it could result in their being arrested because of civil federal requirements regarding immigration status, and not knowing who's going to confront them about it. We also have some people who fear that passing the resolution will mean that our police will not be arresting people who commit criminal acts, or that it'll open up the city to a flood of illegal immigrants, or that we'll be in violation of federal law and lose federal funding that we need for projects and for equipment. The first group of our residents are living with real fear. And while we cannot eliminate that fear, because ICE agents can come into the city at any time and arrest them, we can make sure that they understand that as a sanctuary city, we will not ask them about their immigration status or detain them for it, regardless of their needs from the city. We can encourage them to continue to be functioning members of the community and participate in normal daily activities. These residents understand that being a sanctuary city by name means that they are recognized as being supported by their city and by their community. The second group of our residents also need to be able to live without fear. They need to know that we are, and have been for quite a while, a sanctuary city in all but name, and that our police focus is on addressing criminal activity and will remain so. That by action and policy, we continue to be the same as Palm Springs and Indio and nearly 500, or from what I just saw, over 600 sanctuary jurisdictions in the country, in which between 1/3 and 1/2 of the population of this country already lives. That it's the responsibility of the federal government to enforce civil immigration laws through the Immigration Service, through Border Patrol and ICE, and not state and local law enforcement. That the federal government has been blocked by the courts from withholding funding because they've never legally defined what sanctuary city is, although we've now heard that the Justice Department has come up with a definition, but a very narrow one. And this resolution should be defensible in court. So we need to address everyone's fears, and we need to support the needs of our community. And I think passing this resolution does that once everyone understands the reasoning and the reality, the impact of the resolution on all members of the community. We've heard a lot of comments from people both for and against the resolution. We even have a count of the number of people communicating on the issue. But let me end with this. I attended the annual Harvey Milk event in Palm Springs last week, and part of the invocation was given by Rabbi David Lazar, who was reading some of Harvey Milk's words. His quote was, "It takes no survey to remove repression." The time is right. Now. We need to stand up, and we need to show courage. We need to support our residents. We're all human beings. I move that we adopt the revised resolution. And I would also ask that we then provide more information to the community about the resolution going forward.
Thank you. By being mayor, I get the privilege of going last. And I want to clarify some things. 2 weeks ago, when we had this on a study session item, there was not a vote 5-0 to make us a sanctuary city. I think of what you heard, every one of us felt that this was a big enough topic and enough of a concern to bring it here tonight. That's what you got. You didn't get that everybody was in favor of this. You got that we felt that it was a concern to bring it forward and have it be heard. That was what was made back 2 weeks ago. So with that, I've heard a lot tonight, and I've heard of a nation divide. I've heard that we need to be inclusive. I agree with that. I've heard that we have a broken system, and we certainly do. But it's not going to be us that's going to fix that system by ourselves. And dividing our city even more is going to make that broken system even harder to fix. I've heard that we need to get help for those that need to be that want to be legal citizens and want to be here, and I agree with that. I think we should. That is something that we should be working towards. I've heard that we need to care about, and even if we disagree with what somebody says here, doesn't mean we don't care. My issue is the term sanctuary. It really is, because I believe that it divides our city, and we are supposed to be leaders to bring our city together. We need to be working towards ways to let those that don't understand what we've put in a resolution as a sanctuary city to where it does, and I applaud the staff for making it as legal as they can to protect us, but I don't think that it gives us 100% protection, and there are still some issues out there. 3.5 years ago, it's been about 3.5 years, when I was first elected mayor, and we haven't changed up here, I gave everyone up here a book. It was called Getting to Yes. And that's how I've tried to lead. I tried to lead that when I was the chief of police, is that we need to find ways that we get our citizens to yes. And I don't believe we've done that today. We still have a divided city, and I think that we need to work further to get our community to yes. We may not get to where that we are 100% in agreement, but we need to get to where we have a yes. And I don't think that we're here yet. I think that we need to spend more time with our community, bringing the sides together, bringing the people together to get to yes. I know that one of the requests that was made to the city manager was that we need to have a informational plan, and I believe that we need to do that. I think that we need to let the community know what we already have, where we already are, and it's not just the revised in 2017. It was done 15 years ago. But we have failed our community in letting them know that they are safe, and that they are safe without being called a sanctuary city. Because we do have those policies in place to protect all of our community. We have, as Councilmember Cannavale said, in December, we said we wanted to be all-inclusive. And not only have we said that, we've said that for years, we said we want to make that public. We want to go out there and make it public that we all are all-inclusive. If this resolution said all-inclusive city, I'm 100% behind it. But as it stands today, I think it still divides our city. And we haven't done our job to bring our city together. And I think that we still need to do work. If this passes, we still need to do work. If it doesn't pass, we still need to do work, because we have got the foundation already here to bring our city together. We just need to work on it more. So thank you. I think there was a motion, but I have not.
Mr. Mayor, can we bring it up for discussion to have a public vote on this? Put this out to vote.
I don't.
I mean,
I
we can have a special vote on this if we can discuss it right now. I mean,
Well, there's a motion. If there's a second, we can have further discussion.
I will, Mr. Mayor, I will second the motion to adopt the resolution. And, sorry. And,
that's really right. We were still discussing.
Let him.
Go ahead.
I appreciate the councilman's suggestion. I personally feel as though the community elected me to make these decisions, and I'm prepared to do that tonight.
Please. You've been very good. Let's not ruin it. Okay? Please. I'm going to ask a point of clarification. I know there's a motion and a second. Can Councilman Carnevale do a substitute motion or something to that would need to be voted on first, or can you help us out?
You can do a substitute motion. Typically, substitute motions have to be voted on before the main motion, but in this case, there's already been a second. If they had made the motion, I would have said yes. So I believe that needs the request. This is asking for a lot of Robert's rules late at night. I think that means that Mr. Aguilar needs to concede his second to allow the substitute motion to be made. Then you vote on the substitute motion if it doesn't get a second.
Would the substitute motion have to have a second?
Yes. Okay. Substitute motion not only has to have a second, but it then has to have a vote, and if it fails...
But if it doesn't have a second, then it would fail and we'd go to the...
Correct.
Okay. Would you at least have it?
I made my second, and I think we should proceed.
Please.
Now, Mayor, another clarification point. Regardless of whether you vote on this motion and it passes, any member of the council can make another motion with regard to either bring something back to talk about an initiative measure, is what I think Councilmember Carnevale was discussing. So that issue doesn't go away. You can still bring that up. It's just not a substitute for the motion that you're going to vote on now.
But if this motion passes, it's a dead issue then.
It's not a dead issue if you want to then proceed to discuss putting something on the ballot to have the people decide whether you'll be a sanctuary city.
There's a motion.
This declaration would
and I'm
move forward.
Given the fact how I think the vote's going to go, I'm not going to go any further with it.
Thank you. And just a point of clarification, your second is on the revised.
My motion was on the...
Yes, I just wanted to make
And
sure.
the second includes the revised language in section 3.
Thank you. Please vote. Motion passes 3-2. Thank you. Please. We're going to adjourn for 10 minutes. We're going to go back to consent agenda. Can you please have the consent agenda?
Item number 2A is to approve Item number 2B is to
How will we deal with the situation? Always got something. That's resolution. You can't cooperate, okay? I will do this. Breaking the law. And all of you. It's nice to see you be here. 250 members of Congress love to come here. Indeed, no thanks to us. He's everybody. I know it's good. What's wrong? I have to you wanted to have yeah, I got it. Yeah, here for you. Morning, California. Oh, please, God. Someone heard of that. Let me help you. Hero. That's why and all well, that didn't mean it. Really. Just with the city council. Okay. This time. Can I walk him out? Oh no! Yeah. We need to please clear the council chambers so that we can continue with our business. That's the issue. Thank you.
Do you believe the three gay guys had the balls? The two straight guys with live in a gated community with guns couldn't do it.
Let's make it even clearer. The three gay Democrats.
Thank you. But the others are going to... Oh, my.
He went back.
Yeah, Greg.
That's a long way, and I didn't see it.
Sorry, this weird.
That'll be his... That's the something that he
Big sign that he made at home. It said, go out meeting during the meeting. Very secret.